more news or some type of updates and stuff going on with the Michael Jackson biopic. So, let's get into it. So, obviously, if you watch my news later down the line, if you have been watching them since last year, then you would know that back then, if you have gone to this page, this would have said 2025 film. Now it's pushed back to 2026. Alright? So, right here, Michael, as we all know, is directed by Anton Fuqua, written by John Logan, produced by Graham Keane, John Branca, and John McClane, starring Jafar Jackson, Michael Jackson's nephew, Coleman Domingo, Nia Long, Miles Teller, Laura Harrier, Kat Graham, Lawrence Tate, and Derek Luke. Cinematography is done by Diane Bepp. Production companies are Lionsgate Studios and JK Films. And it is distributed by Lionsgate in the US and Universal Pictures internationally. This is made and released in the US. The language it's mainly in is English, and the budget is at $155 million. Alright. And you might notice that some movies today are actually trying to come up on how to make their movies good by spending less money. And notice how it's not in the $200 million or $300 million mark, because they are wise with their choices. So, Michael is an upcoming American biographical musical drama film based on the life of the American singer, songwriter, and dancer Michael Jackson. Directed by Anton Fuqua and written by John Logan, the film stars Jafar Jackson, Jackson's nephew, in his film debut as his uncle, Michael Jackson. The ensemble cast also features Coleman Domingo, Nia Long, Miles Teller, Laura Harrier, Kat Graham, Lawrence Tate, and Derek Luke. Michael is scheduled for release by Lionsgate in the US and by Universal Pictures internationally. So, the premise is that the film follows Michael Jackson's life and career from his time with the Jackson 5 as a child in the late 1960s and 1970s to his final weeks before his death in 2009. And here is the cast. Jafar Jackson as his uncle Michael Jackson, Giuliano Crovaldi as a young Michael Jackson, Coleman Domingo as Joe Jackson, Michael's father, Nia Long as Catherine Jackson, Michael's mother, Miles Teller as John Branca, an entertainment lawyer and manager of Michael's, Laura Harrier as Susan DePaz, Jamal R. Henderson as Jermaine Jackson, Michael's older brother, Jaden Harville as young Jermaine, Trey Horton as Marlon Jackson, Michael's older brother, Jalen Lyndon Hunter as young Marlon, Ryan Hill as Tito Jackson, rest in peace Tito, Michael's older brother, Judah Edwards as young Tito, Joseph David Jones as Jackie Jackson, Michael's older brother, Nathaniel Logan McIntyre as young Jackie, Kat Graham as Diana Ross. Sorry, I nearly messed that up. Lawrence Tate as Barry Gordy, the founder and manager of Motown. Jessica Sula as LaToya Jackson, Michael's older sister. Liv Simone as Gladys Knight. Kevin Shinnick as Dick Clark. Kaylin Darrell Jones as Bill Bray, Michael's bodyguard. Kendrick Sampson as Quincy Jones, the main producer of Epic Records. And Derek Luke as Johnny Cochran. Alright, production, development, and casting. In November of 2019, Deadline reported that Graham Keane had secured the rights to produce a film about Michael Jackson, with John Logan responsible for writing the screenplay, but it was still not set up at a studio at this point. In February of 2022, the movie was officially announced with Lionsgate set up as the studio responsible for the film, owning the global distribution rights. In October 2023, Lionsgate announced that Universal Pictures will serve as the international distributor for the Michael Jackson biopic. In July 2024, Deadline reported that Tokyo-based Kino Films has struck a deal with Lionsgate and JK Films to distribute Michael in Japan. So, finally, Michael's long a loyal fan base, and Japan finally has their own release. Finally, and hopefully they will enjoy the movie when it comes out. Casting began in June with Kimberly Harden as the casting director. Production was expected to start in 2023. In January 2023, Anton Fuqua was announced as the director. Casting began that month with Jackson's nephew, Jafar Jackson, announced to play Jackson. In January of 2024, the newcomer Giuliano Criovaldi was cast as a young Michael, as well as Coleman Domingo as Joe Jackson and Nia Long as Catherine Jackson. Also that month, Miles Teller was reported to be in talks to play one of Jackson's attorneys. In February, Teller was confirmed to play John Branca. The cast for the rest of the Jackson 5 were announced later that month, with Laura Harrier, Kat Graham, Lawrence Tate, Jessica Sula, Liv Simone, Kevin Shinnick, Kaylin Darrell Jones, and Kendrick Sampson being added to portray Susan DePaz, Diana Ross, Barry Gordy, LaToya Jackson, Gladys Knight, Dick Clark, Bill Bray, and Quincy Jones in March. In April of 2024, Derek Luke was added to the cast as Johnny Cochran. Writing. The screenplay includes content regarding the abuse allegations against MJ, with King saying that he wanted to humanize but not sanitize and present the most compelling, unbiased story. Filming. Principal photography was scheduled to begin in mid-2023 over 80 days in Santa Barbara, California, and was projected to spend $120 million originally on crew wages and vendors. According to the California Film Commission, filming was delayed in September of 2023 due to the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike. Filming began in January 22nd in 2024 and ended on May 30th, 2024. Diane Bepp was the cinematographer, Barbara Lang, the production designer, and Marcy Rogers, the costume designer. Post-production. In January of 2025, it was reported that the third act would be reshot due to the film not being able to legally showcase the alleged victim of the 1993 abuse allegations. However, these reports were denied by Lionsgate, who told Variety that the film is still on track to release in October with no truth to the claims brought forward regarding the allegations against a potential delay of the film or issues with the script. A source close to the production told People the Michael Jackson biopic is not in total chaos. The inflammatory headlines about the moving halting were simply not true. The film is moving forward and reshoots are happening in March. According to Lionsgate, during their annual earnings call, production for the film was nearing its completion as of February 6, 2025. In April 2025, it was reported that film could possibly be divided into two parts due to the current 4-hour runtime, and that the October 2025 release was in flu. In May 2025, the film was once again delayed, now expected in 2026 with a runtime of 3.5 hours. God dang, man. Later that same month, it was reported that the film will undergo 22 days of additional photography in June of 2025. Alright, so it is July, so this have probably been resolved probably right about now. And maybe later down the line, maybe in around maybe next week or maybe next month, there might be some updates on this, and if there are, I will make a little update on that. If there isn't, then I might have to keep doing these to get you all back on track. In case if you have forgotten or have missed some details. Release. Michael will be distributed by Lionsgate in the United States and Universal Pictures internationally. It was previously scheduled to be released on April 18th, 2025 and October 3rd, 2025. So that basically means the first part we were so close to getting until it has to be pushed back. A first look was shown to theater owners at CinemaCon on April 10th, 2024, to positive reception. In May 22nd, 2025, the release date was again pushed back, with Lionsgate film chief Adam Fogelson revealing that the company is considering splitting Michael into two parts. Alright, so around somewhere in 2026, we might get a theatrical cut, and maybe around the time for home releases, they're gonna have have the two different splits into their own sections, or have both sections also in a separate category as a very huge movie. And yeah, back then in 2019, during Avengers Endgame, people literally sat down in the cinema for about 3 or so hours when that huge movie just came out, because it was like the literal big end game, pun intended. But also, around 2021, people have somehow, in some way, managed to have the willpower and endorsement on sitting through a 4-hour movie. And what movie? You're asking what that is? That is obviously Zack Snyder's Justice League, only on HBO Max. So, my predictions on the home release of the movie is that there's going to be like 3 variants of it, or maybe 2. Like, one will be part 1, and the other will be part 2, and both of them would be like separate at like at a consistent 1 hour and 45 minutes. And or there might be a different version. There might be a different version of it, which is like the actual full runtime of 4 hours, or in this case, 3.5 hours. Depends on how much they want to cut. Like if they're cutting a bunch of these for time, or is to like try to keep the pace presentable, no matter how fast or slow it's gonna get. All right, so that is all the updates or recaps on the Michael biopic, and see you guys later. Chuggers Boom, signing off.